I'm recording now. That is the old loading dock of the GR Press. And the abandoned rails, rest in peace, of the Bond Street Spur. I'm driving now along where the right-of-way used to be. As you can see, this part of the road has been completely redone. Nothing but a sidewalk and parking spaces where the track used to be. Passing Trowbridge Street along Bond Street Avenue. That sidewalk there is right where the tracks used to be. All these old buildings were all but abandoned, empty furniture factories when the tracks went to the press. Now I think that one is a bakery and a Jimmy John's, at least out front it is. And right up here, this was the last part of the street that was redone in the last few years. Right up here you'll see the remnants of where the top of the rails used to be. Right along this narrow, I don't know if you can see it, that little narrow strip of concrete right there. I'm trying to focus in on it. Yep, see where the tracks were left in place but merely cemented over right here. We're coming up on Newberry Street, and actually right there is where the tracks pop out, and that's the end of what's left of the tracks. And they continue down along Bond Street up here. And if you look closely, you will see a second track right back there. This track actually was used to store empties. When the train went down there to pull out full cars, or empty cars, excuse me, it would leave another set right here to take right back down to take their place. And I believe this loading dock right here was used to load up a boxcar at one time. Now, well, it says Screen Ideas, but according to Google Map, this building is a rock climbing center. Pathway cemented over it. And that building, back in the mid-90s when I was a kid watching trains on this rail, it used to be an empty furniture factory, but now it's part of Michigan State University, one of their satellite campuses. And right here, we still have a switch stand still existing. I tried throwing it one time, but I think the tracks are cemented in concrete over there, so you can't really move it. And as we turn, you can see the tracks go back through in there. Here's another shot of that switch, as you can see. All but abandoned. The stand is still here, but you can't throw it. You can try. Turning the thing won't do anything because the tracks are embedded within cement. Another second track going alongside us right here. I have no idea what the purpose of that one was. I don't even remember 2 tracks at this spot of the Spur. Back when I used to watch them switch out cars at the press when I was a kid back in the mid-90s. Figured I'd better trace this right of way, because actually they've started tearing up the tracks, and once we reach Monroe Street around the corner up here, there won't be much left. So I figured I might as well film it while I can before they turn it into another goddamn bike trail. Oh yeah. As you can see, the tracks are completely gone. Nothing but rail ties and back alleys in memory. Whoa. Very muddy, very dirty. So these tracks ceased being used back, I think, in 2004 when the GR Press, like many other companies, switched from rails to... Oh no, actually, they moved their printing facility out to Walker, so they didn't need to get train service here to bring paper materials for their printers. So this used to be a street back in the 90s. Now they have the fence there. Oh, big pile of ties standing in the way. Say the one part that's left. This is Monroe Crossing. Nothing but standard cross buxet here. Completely understandable, as trains only came, I think, twice a week. Power plant right here. Whenever you see one of those, you're bound to have a railroad somewhere nearby. Same thing with telephone poles. And as you can see, as the railroad comes back here, or did come back here, it is just a mere yards from dropping off into the Grand River right here. Also goes behind a firehouse. Oh dear. Floods will put this track in danger. As you can see, the crossing at Leonard Street is all but gone. Even though Google image will still have pictures of the crossbucks. Okay, took a little camera break to have my dad move to another parking lot, meet me farther down. Another huge pile of ties, of course. Refreshing to see this pathway all clear. The last time I walked this track, which was when I didn't have a camera, all grown over. There's a few videos on the abandoned history of Grand Rapids somewhere on YouTube, and I think one guy has a few photos that he took of the track in here when it was all overgrown. and a nice shot of the train trestle over there. More on that later. Okay, now coming up here, we actually have a fork, because way back in the old days, there was a Y that existed here because the press building, which we saw at the beginning, where that loading dock was actually a terminal, and this was owned by the Grand Trunk Railroad, Grand Trunk Western, and well, they had passenger service coming from both Muskegon and Detroit. And by having a Y, they could have passenger trains be able to come into the terminal regardless of which way they came in, and also turn them around when they left again. Or they could back down and then leave straightforward. I'll come back to that. This is actually the east leg of the Y. I'll come back to that later. Let's stick with the main portion of the spur first. Comes right around here where it will hook up with the old Grand Trunk Western main line, which was succeeded by Central Michigan Railroad, and finally Grand Rapids Eastern hooks up with it just shy of the trestle that you saw a little while back. Rumor has it there's a hobo camp in there somewhere, but I'm not going to go in there right now. Okay, here it is. The present main line of the Grand Rapids Eastern track. As you can see, what few remains there are of the spur track hook up literally just shy of the railroad trestle, which crosses west over the Grand River and onto their main yard down there at Ann Street. And this is about as far as I'm going to go. So even the switch handle there has been removed. Okay. Now right over there, I don't know if you can see it. The sun's in my eye, so I can't see clearly myself at the second, but is the north overpass on Monroe Street. It was actually two bridges because of the east leg of the Y, but I'll give you a better shot of it when I get further back here. Accidentally hit the off button there. I'm going to point the camera down because the sun's right up there in my face. I don't want to ruin my camera lens. It's brand new. Okay, there's a better shot of the bridge. The north overpass of Monroe Street. Now actually they had to redo that bridge a few years ago, and they needed to get cranes on both sides of the bridge in order to do it, but they couldn't fit a crane on the south side here, because obviously it couldn't duck under that bridge, and the abandoned bridge from the east leg was in the way. So they took out the east bridge. Should be right over there. Get back over here to the fork in the Y. I'll show you the east leg and then we'll call it a day. Okay, now here's the east leg, the Y. As I said earlier, it was used to help passenger trains turn around and back into the depot in downtown Grand Rapids. But once passenger service was abandoned on this track, the east leg of the Y was abandoned as well when it became exclusively freight. So they just use the main line over there. And there's the edge right here before we head down the incline of what used to be a concrete wall to support the bridge. I'll try to get a shot from the other end of the Y in a few minutes. But as you can see, obviously the bridge is completely gone and that one is still there. But if you look on Google Images, the satellite view shows the current status, that the north is there and the south is not. But Street View, actually, you'll be able to see both the north and south bridges. Alright, one more shot on the other side of the Y and then we'll call it a day. Well, before we do that, just one more quick shot of the bridge. I believe it's an L girder bridge. I may be incorrect. If I am, I'll post the correct information in text at the bottom of your screen. And actually, if you look closely on there, you can still see the old imprints of the Grand Trunk Railway back when they owned it. And from straight underneath, railroad ties, rails. I guess in a perfect world that would be a walk bridge, but well, I really don't know what to say there. Okay, this is actually the Taylor Street crossing right here. This is what's left of the east leg of the Y. The switch is still there, stand, but I'm not touching it. No way. No way in hell. Across the tracks. As you can see, we only have about 40 feet of it left. Although most of the rails are still here. And they come right up here. As you can see in the ties, it curves slightly just before it reaches the drop-off and the once was bridge. Okay, well that's all there is left of this press spur. May it rest in peace, and pray to God that someday somebody who buys the GR Press building, which is actually up for sale right now, someday they'll request rail service and this track will be built once again. Good day, everybody.